Hey Ranger Nation, welcome back to another video, and today, I've got to admit, it sounds so weird for actually watching Power Rangers Dino Fury on Netflix. So it's up there right now if you want to go have a look. Not totally sponsored. Why did I say totally sponsored? So not sponsored, but yeah, Power Rangers Dino Fury is now airing all over on Netflix. So this is going to be one of multiple videos per day, which is going to be of which episode? So episode 9. Now this episode, to me, I felt like every Ranger bar Ollie was being a massive dick towards Ollie. Like if Ollie's a bit like me, I don't like camping, or I would want to make my life camping a lot easier than normal. So, I wouldn't take as much high-tech gadgets around because it's expensive, but I would take things to kind of make my life a little bit better. But every single Ranger is just a massive prick to Ollie for some strange, bizarre reason in this. I was a bit kind of stunned on it because I was like, why are you all meant to be his friends? So basically, let's break down this episode. So the Rangers are all going off to play. They're all going off to camp, and they're up in the hills. And Ollie is kind of bragging about what he's brought. His shoes are powered by electricity by walking, which is a good invention, to be fair. I quite like that. He's got binoculars. He's got a pole, like a walking stick. And when I kind of saw all of this, when he started kind of talking about it, it sounded like he was bragging like, I totally have all this. I have all this sort of stuff. And I was like, oh, it feels like he'd brag about a lot. He would turn around to you and say, I've got this, have you? And you'd be like, no. He's like, oh, well, I've got a walking pole. So for me on this one, I felt like it was just a little bit over the top. He's got a kind of swinging hammock, which Zato suddenly turns around and says, hey, I'm going to give this a go, and then spins, gets kind of trapped, which, again, I just felt like this. I can see now what Simon said by spreading the comedy around to everyone. I kind of get this now, because you see Jane and Jay Borg later on, and they're not doing funny things, so they kind of like switched all of this. So one thing I will pick up on this, which I think there were two parts in this episode which I wasn't kind of a fan of, because it just felt really out of continuity. One is that you've got Zato talking about Void Knight. So we've got Void Knight, we've got who else? Void Knight, Mucus, as well as one other character, which I think they call him Rasputin or something. Which I was just like, that's a bit weird for a monster's name. So they're putting up all this like tech to stop the Rangers from teleporting and stuff like that. And while they're talking about it, Mucus is like, oh hey, it's your birthday, Void Knight. It's not. It's literally, he thinks it because of the balloon, or she thinks it because of the balloon. So with this happening, Zato turns around to Javier and Izzy and says, oh hey, guess what? You want to know about Void Knight? Guess what? You can meet him, and you never hear Void Knight's voice. So I was like, why would Zato say, oh, that's where Void Knight? Because we've seen Mucus like appear on her own type thing. I can understand if you heard it in the background, it was just like, shut up, Mucus, and it's like, right, that's Void Knight. We're gonna go for Void Knight. So I found that a little bit kind of weird. So this device that they've got terminates all kind of like tech, like their communications. I think they mentioned it takes away the morphing power, but I was a bit like, why didn't you kind of morph? Now we get a quick morph in this, and I kind of like the way that Zato was like, oh, I kind of want to throw Mucus up in the air, because the monster turns around and says, oh, we're gonna have to throw Mucus up there to get the balloon out the way. And Zato's like, yeah, if that doesn't work, I'm gonna have a go as well. And I was like, do you know what? I kind of like that bit of sass. That bit of sass was great. So in all, the communications device stops the device stops everything. The others teleport out really quickly because they know that they'd be stuck in, and they'd be stuck with the Rangers. And the Rangers now want to try and get back to the town, because obviously they need to. They want to kind of check in with Solon. They want to get help from Solon, but unfortunately they can't. So Ollie comes up and says, hey, let's take the tech that I've got and let's make something. And the Rangers just don't give a shit. They're like, oh, we don't care about what you've got. And I felt this is really kind of harsh because, all the way time, it's always believe your friends, help your friends. And Ollie could really kind of make stuff with all the technology, but it just feels like they just didn't care. They wanted to do their stuff, and walking was going to be the main answer. And I just generally was like, why are you being such a prick? Why are all of you doing that? It felt like they turned their back on him. So the Rangers, bar Ollie, start walking around. They start trying to head back to the city. Void Knight and Mucus are picking up Sporex. They're going around, and they pick up quite a fair few. The Rangers start walking around saying, "Oh, we recognize this place. I passed that tree." And in the meantime, Ollie is making stuff. So while Ollie's doing the stuff which you think would happen, that they could easily do, the Rangers kind of start chatting. Then they meet Ollie, and they're like, "Oh shit, you actually know your stuff. You know what you're doing." And I found that very kind of so it shows that they've got teamwork in this one. The Rangers then defeat the balloon. They actually blow it up, and they're able to kind of teleport. Previously we had J-Borg and Jane, which again was quite nice not seeing them being silly and stuff, so I kind of like that. The Rangers then start fighting, and you have Void Knight with a huge bag of Sporex. You kind of think in this one though, he would as soon as he saw the Rangers, teleport out or tell Mucus to go back to base with it. So I'm thinking that you're going to see more Sporex being kind of picked up because they want to kind of move the story along to see what Void Knight's got in his base to try and revive his long lost girlfriend or wife, whatever she is. So with all this going on, they continue on, and they have a fight. Now it matches Sentai footage quite a little bit, and they did it previously in the forest where they were camping. The Sentai mix-up was a lot. It was really nice, very subtle, I've got to admit that, but it was there, and they did use quite a fair bit. Not as much as normal, but they did use quite a fair bit. So the Rangers go against the Chicken Monster. I'm going to call them Chicken Monster, it's a lot easier. And that is pretty much it. It's interesting because in this fight, they turn around and say "Oh, if we take more hits, we're going to die. The Zord can't take it." So they use a new mode, which is the tank mode from MMPR. And they kind of survive. This is the one thing that annoyed me. Okay, so going back to the fight with Void Knight, the Rangers call on certain things to boost their powers, the rear soldiers, souls, or whatever, the Ranger keys, whatever they want to call it, I can't remember. And in one scene they have the armor, and in the scene that they don't have the armor, but it's not like it powers down, they've put a few effects in or a sound effect. It's literally switch, switch, switch. And I was like, I don't like that. It just a little bit took me out of that particular thing. But in general, they use the Megazord, they fight, they combine, they use all the Zords together, and they defeat the monster. Void Knight and Mucus are kind of putting the Sporex into the device, and that is pretty much it. It's now getting to the part where the story is now progressing, and that's fine. Everyone then kind of meets up with Ollie, and then they kind of be like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't talk about your tech that well. Sorry." But yeah, and that was particularly it. It was quite an interesting episode. I kind of liked it. Those two parts were the only thing that annoyed me. I think more mainly because of there wasn't effects that kind of took off the arm and stuff like that. But in general, it was a really good episode. I kind of really enjoyed it. It's weird seeing it on Netflix because now I can watch the next one and binge watch this. So huzzah for that. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. What did you guys think of this episode? Have you seen it? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as a cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. Join me in the next video where we will be releasing today Dino Fury episode 10, and I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.
チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。